Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, shout out to one of my subscribers, Philippians413. He super chats a lot, and he's been making this video request. So I figured I'd honor his video request because he's from Louisville, Kentucky. He's been saying, True School, BT, The Untouchable. When are you going to talk about Muhammad Ali? When are you going to do a Muhammad Ali video? So consider this my Muhammad Ali video. In this video, what I wanted to talk about was not just Muhammad Ali. I'm going to talk about Muhammad Ali, but I'm going to also talk about one of my favorite heavyweights of all time, Joe Louis. And what I wanted to do was kind of just talk about, from my vantage point and my perspective, what makes Muhammad Ali, what made Muhammad Ali one of the greatest heavyweights in the ring, and what made Joe Louis one of the greatest heavyweights in the ring. Because there's always a lot of debate between boxing fans of who was the best heavyweight of all time. Many people say Muhammad Ali, many people say Joe Louis, some people say George Foreman, and the newer generation, some people might say Tyson Fury, because he's very magnetic and he's a great talent himself. But that being said, let's start Muhammad Ali. The Louisville Lip, one of the greatest heavyweights and fighters ever, one of the most iconic athletes in the history of sports itself. Muhammad Ali, what I believe made Muhammad Ali such a great fighter is I think Muhammad Ali was an artist of sorts. He was an artist. He was like the great artists, like the Van Goghs and the Picassos. Like in art, when you have a canvas, right, you have to kind of feel your way through your painting. Like you're expressing your feelings and you're letting it flow onto the canvas. And if you live life long enough, you know a lot of people that you'll know people in your own life that they feel their way through life. They wear the emotions on their sleeves and they're able to kind of like feel their way through situations. It's hard to explain, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Muhammad Ali had a way in the boxing ring of feeling his way through situations. If you watch him box, he wasn't like a conventional boxer. He wasn't a guy that necessarily did everything by the book. In fact, he broke a lot of rules in boxing, from boxing with his hands down to the constant bouncing. But if you watch him, the constant breaking of rhythm, the way he would shoot the right hand and then dip under it and spin out, the way he would tie guys up, the Ali shuffle, the way he would pivot and reverse pivot in such a magnetic and fast way. It always allowed Muhammad Ali to create these new punching angles, and with the speed and the precision and the power he had, it always made for him, to be a tough challenge for the bigger, strong guys in the heavyweight division. Because back in those days, Muhammad Ali wasn't necessarily a massively strong heavyweight in comparison to the likes of like Ernie Shavers, Ken Norton, George Foreman. So he had to make up for things in other departments. So those departments were speed. Those departments were athleticism. Though those departments ultimately were his overall creative fight game. And it's like my favorite Muhammad Ali performance. And it's a performance where I really feel like his physical abilities met up at its highest point with his mental abilities. And when it happens to a fighter, that's called a fighter's prime. I believe that fight for him was the Cleveland Williams fight. Now, obviously, Muhammad Ali lost, about 3 years of his career because he didn't want to go to the war or whatever, so his boxing license was stripped from him, and he stood for that on general principle. So we all we know about like he lost viable years of his prime. So everything we hear about his prime is kind of just hearsay, But in this fight, I really feel like you got a chance to see Muhammad Ali at his best. Because you had a big, strong top contender in Cleveland Williams pressing forward, trying to make a big, tough fight with Muhammad Ali. And then you saw Muhammad Ali constantly circling the ring. You saw him constantly confusing Cleveland Williams with the way he was able to pivot, reverse pivot. And then it got to a point where he was in such a zone. He was in what they call a flow state. When you're just in the zone, that he was doing the Ali shuffle, hitting him with punch, a combination from here and here and here. And it was just really one of the true masterpieces in boxing history. So I really believe that these are the things that made Muhammad Ali one of the most interesting fighters ever is his way of attack. Because like if you look up a book on how to box, how to throw a jab, you would never look at the way Muhammad Ali fights, because he's one of a kind. He had his own rhythm. He had his own idiosyncrasies. He had his own intricacies that made him a special fighter. So, I really think like because of these things, because of the way he fights, because of the rhythm he fought in, because of the footwork he had, the agility he had, the intangibles like self-belief, it made him a hard fighter to beat in any era. And then when we look at a guy like Joe Louis, who is, to me, when we talk about the history of boxing, Joe Louis is the prototype boxer puncher. When you look up the definition of what a boxer puncher is in the dictionary of boxing, if they had a picture of what a boxer puncher is, it would have been Joe Louis. I mean, he's the polar opposite of Ali. If you looked at how to box, like the perfect textbook boxing technique, it was Joe Louis. I mean, the jab comes out and comes right back. Every punch is on balance. When he throws 3 or 4 punches, you never really see him fall off balance. The straight right hand, which for me, right, my favorite punch in boxing is the straight right hand. If you want to make me a fan of yours, have a good straight right hand. If you're a southpaw, a good straight left hand, and I'll be a fan of yours because I just love it when it's perfectly executed. And Joe Louis, for my money, may just have the best straight right hand in the history of boxing, because of the textbook way in which it was thrown. The leverage he gets behind the punches are great. And Joe Louis knocked out more Hall of Famers than a lot of these so-called great fighters that even fought. It's hard when you get to the top level of boxing to knock out top fighters, because they're all good and they all know how to win and they all know how to survive it. It gets down to that. But he showed, and he always performed best in the biggest fights. I mean, if you look at the Max Schmeling rematch, he fought with more pressure than any American fighter will ever fight with the World War II lingering. He was basically fighting with the hopes of the United States on his shoulders, and there is no bigger pressure than that when you have and then even more pressure added to him, considering the fact that he got knocked out by Max Schmeling in the first fight. So he delivered in a major way when he stopped Schmeling. I believe it was in 2 rounds. And yeah, what made him great was, I think, is he did everything by the book. Like, there's many different ways to skin a cat and become a great fighter. The same way there's many different ways to skin a cat and be successful in life. Joe Louis was able to do everything as far as his technique is concerned by the book. Stepping with the jab properly, getting the proper leverage on the straight right hand, making sure that you turn the left hook all the way over. Like, he did everything great in that ring. He didn't have the creativity or the athleticism or the agility of Muhammad Ali, but he literally had the most textbook, fundamental, sterling, pristine boxing technique that quite possibly any heavyweight has ever had. Apart from maybe like Riddick Bowe in his prime. Riddick Bowe in his prime had great technique. Holyfield in his prime was a great combination puncher, had great technique. There's been a lot of great heavyweights, but I think for me, for my money, maybe apart from like a George Foreman, to me, this is 1A and 1B as far as the heavyweights go. Muhammad Ali and Joe Louis, and they're both great for different reasons. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of do this video because my main man, Philippians 4:13, that's his name, from Kentucky. He wanted me to make a video about Muhammad Ali, so this is my video talking about why I believe Muhammad Ali is great, why I think Joe Louis is great. They're different fighters. They're different cups of tea. They're different flavors of candy, but they're both great in their own right. And I think they've given many fighters the inspiration, the foundation, and paved the way for them to go on and become great fighters themselves. So much respect to Muhammad Ali, who trained right here in South Florida at the illustrious 5th Street Gym on Collins Avenue, and much respect to Joe Louis, the prototype boxer puncher, who was trained by the great Jack Blackburn in Detroit. So Detroit stand up, 2 great heavyweights. So yeah, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about Muhammad Ali and Joe Louis, and your observations on their careers. And Just give me your thoughts. Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care. Thank you for watching another video on True School Sports, the home of boxing. If you made it this far, do me a favor and do yourself a damn favor. Hit that subscribe button and surely you will not be disappointed. You know, True School Sports bringing you the latest and greatest, the untouchable, you know, boxing content, interviews, news videos, breakdowns, live fight reaction extravaganza. We've got a great community of people here, boxing fans all over the world, from America to the UK to Australia and on and on and on. So join the empire today. Hit that subscribe button. Take care and God.